Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together we are TwinFinity.
Hey, you kind of did the eyebrows a little bit.
You kind of look like you're sitting in the fireplace.
Well, I kind of wish I was. It was warmer.
You look like you're sitting way back, and I look like I'm sitting way forward, but we are side by side.
Is this better? I have to sit up straight. I'm reclining because I have a dog on my lap. Look, I'm all comfy. Snuggling with the dog. Hi! Hi.
Oh, yes, we're doing questions and answers today.
We're not just snuggling by the fireplace.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Rob just woke up from a nap, so he's still a little
yeah.
loopy. And I look like I need a nap.
Oh.
We had a late night and an early morning, and we probably shouldn't do a video. But, you know, we have fun when we do videos when we're tired.
The dog just buried its eyes and nose in my elbow for a bit. Somebody else is tired, too.
Yeah, we all need a nap, apparently. So before we start answering your questions, we have some questions for you this time. Isn't that fun? We should answer or ask questions more often, but it's going to be hard to get answers, so maybe not. So
we're asking questions so that we can get questions.
Yes.
Not answers. This is so confusing.
Oh boy, we're loopy and we've barely begun. This is going to be a bad video. Or a good video, depending on how you look at it. Okay, so a while ago, I can't even remember when, I think sometime in the summer, fall, I don't know. Somebody had asked if we would do a question and answer video on the masculine's perspective. So they were wanting to kind of understand how the masculines see this whole journey, and she had some questions herself, and we all agreed that we would wait and let other people ask questions too. So we're finally ready to do that video. So we are putting out the call. If you have questions that you would like to know specifically for the masculine's perspective, specifically for Rob, specifically for the journey from how the masculines experience it, put them out there. Let us know. You can either do them like you normally do them. You can private message them to us. You can just post them in the comments under the video, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, and we will add them all together like we normally do.
We already have a couple of questions. We just need a few more to gather some of the perspectives of what people are really looking for. See if we can get some questions that overlap a little bit so that we know where the real trigger points are.
And we want to just be fair and make sure we invite everybody that wants to ask questions, and so the video doesn't go out and people go like, oh, I wish I'd known because I wanted to ask questions. So here's your opportunity. Next question that I have is, for those of you that follow us specifically or more so on Facebook than you do on YouTube, or now that we're on Instagram, do you like that we post our videos, like that we upload them directly onto Facebook so you can just watch it right on Facebook? You don't have to just click the link and have it take you over to YouTube. The reason I'm asking is because I used to upload our videos, all of them, to both Facebook and YouTube, which meant some of you watched us on YouTube and others of you watched us directly on Facebook. Since I started doing my little videos, I stopped doing that, and I just would post it on YouTube and then share it to Facebook because it was just easier. But if you guys prefer that I keep sharing to both places, if you enjoy watching it directly on Facebook, if it's just easier, then let me know. Just give your feedback if you want me to continue doing that, and I will continue doing that. I think that's all I have for questions.
Okay. I'm just going to try to answer that question. I think that people sometimes go directly to YouTube. Some people go directly to Facebook, and there's going to be a request to do it on both.
There might be.
I think so. That's just my guess. Throw in your comments.
Well, interestingly enough, one of the reasons I'm asking, two reasons I'm asking. One is because my own inner guidance has given me an answer, and I don't really like it. Which means it's true, it's the answer. So I'm doing what I tell you guys not to do, and I'm asking outside of my own inner guidance for feedback. That's the real truth. But also, the other truth is, we actually get way more views on our videos when we upload them directly to Facebook. But it's funny, it looks on YouTube, like when you go to YouTube, there's hardly any views on a video. But it's because most people have already watched it on Facebook. So whatever. We don't care. It's not like we're keeping track of views. What we want is to share knowledge and information. And if it benefits you more that we share directly to Facebook and YouTube, then we'll do that.
This has stepped outside of the realm of my expertise. And now I'm not going to comment any further.
Okay. I do have one comment. It's not a question. But since we're talking about, kind of going against the grain of your own inner knowing, this doesn't really go against the grain of inner knowing. It just goes with ego versus
we all need a nap.
Yeah, we do. Oh, totally. I wanted to comment on our last video,
Okay.
which was our trigger video, creating union through clearing triggers. If you haven't seen it, if I do say so myself, it's a good video.
I thought we did really well. Sometimes you sit down for a video and it goes pretty good. And other times you sit down for a video and it's nearly, or it is just magical. It just works. That was a good one.
Yes.
That was a really good one.
Yes. But I wanted to say that the part, and it's funny, thank God it didn't trigger me as much as I thought it would, but it kind of did. We both looked in that video super heavy. Like we both looked.
It was the camera angle.
Well, it was that, and we also ate a very salty meal the night before. And then we went for a long walk the day after, the day we did the video. That was our walk that we did all the way.
Yeah. To a place called Home Road in our city here.
So we didn't have enough water. So we were oversalted, we were underwatered, and we were like totally bloated for that video. It was really kind of like, I look back and I'm like, whoa!
And because we were oversalted and underwatered and tired, we weren't sitting up straight.
Well, there was that too.
We were slouched. So our heads were physically, this is why I call it a camera angle, our heads were physically further away from the camera than our bellies because we were all slouched down. So, yeah, okay. The bloated bits were closer to the camera than our heads, so we kind of looked chunky. Now, I am a little bit chunky anyway.
Well, we kind of both are right now because we're in winter season, so it's...
Yeah, winter, yeah. If I looked outside the window over here, mostly white.
We don't get as much activity in the winter season. In the summer season, we're out climbing mountains. In the winter season, it's harder to do that.
Yeah, we're out walking in flat spots, maybe with snowshoes, because everywhere else is an avalanche hazard.
Yeah. Okay.
Question and answer. We're 7 minutes and almost 8 minutes.
Yeah, we'll get on with it now.
And good go into questions.
Okay.
Did you have any more questions for our people?
No, I got nothing more to say.
No more questions, no more comments?
No.
Okay.
My ego just needed to clear up a little bit of why we looked so bad in our last video.
And I bet you people didn't really notice. You're always your own worst critic.
Well, luckily, see, I watch most of our videos, and most people probably can't watch their videos. I've heard other people say, I would judge myself completely if I watched. I love watching our videos. I'm always like, oh, we're so cute. That one I still said we were cute, but I was like, oh, wow. I even checked with Rob after. I'm like, do I really look that way? You can be honest. Do I need to lose some weight? Is it really that bad? And you genuinely said no.
I'm not going back to that question. You lived through it once. Do you do it again? No.
You lived through it once?
Without getting murdered for saying something wrong?
Well, my clothes still fit all as well. Anyway, we're too long. Let's get on with it.
Okay. First question. It's got a little bit of a story to it. Oh, yeah. I briefly read this one because it was a little bit choppy, and I'm glad I did. I have a karmic who will not let go and keeps me in guilt and fear. My twin flame journey has taken him on a dark path of drug addiction. He chooses to cope in this manner. It has taken me a long time to accept that his choice is not my fault. Now he has resorted to the last hope of keeping me in my, well, it says jail, but it's a, what would you call that? It's a relationship jail.
Yeah, not real jail.
He has resorted to telling my kids about my TF. And he brainwashed them. I believe if I leave their dad, I am choosing another man over my love from them, being the kids, and abandoning them as well. The kids hate my twin. My own children have given me an ultimatum. It's us or your twin. Staying with my spouse much longer is not an option. I'm at the point if my kids choose him, I need to surrender. I want to choose my twin. I've heard of TFs surrendering everything from their past. I'm struggling, though, with my kids. I have only heard of one TF couple in union where the father left and lost 5 of his 6 kids. They are also on YouTube. Society seems to accept when fathers leave. What about the mom? What a paradigm slash template I am about to break. I feel my kids are controlling me now. What right do my children have to keep me trapped in a marriage that is toxic? My situation is beyond karmic spouse. How do children and should children prevent union? My kids refuse to have any contact with my twin. Okay, I'll start. Now that I've actually read this question once straight through, I'd like to take karmic, I'd like to take twin flame, I'd like to take children, I'd like to take all those variables out. Toxic relationship is what this is. Let's start from the basic good old point of view of the thought that this person is in a relationship that is absolutely hopeless because the person that they're with is completely toxic. Drugs, turning people against them, etc., etc. For your own sake, I would suggest you need to distance yourself from this relationship. That's a little bit of a political speak, I realize that. But distancing far enough where maybe you end up being ostracized by your own kids, that can happen. But now I'm going to throw the children back in. I don't have any kids of my own, but I've watched children and their parents and children and other children exist with each other for, I've been paying attention now for probably 35 years. Kids are really resilient. They tend to be quite resilient. Occasionally one falls off the deep end, but for the most part, they do better than what the parents do. That's my general understanding. And because they're on the outside of a situation, they don't want to see anything go wrong. But if decisions are made and choices are made, they also tend to be really good at discovering the truth. And then if the truth is that one person is really toxic, they tend to figure that out over a while. Now, it may take them months, sometimes years.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually they either grow up enough or can see enough with the maturity that they have that a situation is or was toxic and that decisions were made because decisions had to be made. So I'm still of the opinion that you have to look after yourself.
Yes.
You really do. And some chips are going to fall where they may.
I want to go back to the first question. What paradigm/template am I set to break? So how I see it is you're breaking quite a few, or you have the opportunity to break a lot of templates. One is staying in an abusive or unhealthy, unstable, toxic connection. Often, a lot of us have chosen those kind of connections so we can show society that it's time to let go of those kind of energies, those kind of relationships. So that's number one. Number two is very much like what Rob said. You're here to break the template of choosing others over yourself. It's time to choose yourself.
And sometimes it is, as much as what was stated there, that fathers tend to leave more than mothers tend to leave relationships. Right. Usually it's the father leaves and the mom gets the kids. It's just more that way. Yeah, the world is slightly changing. I think that there's a little bit more equality to that now because people are understanding that it is a little bit more about them and not in a selfish way,
No.
but in a way that is, God, I shouldn't do these things right after I've just woke up from a nap. I lose my words. It's in a way that is self-preserving.
Yes. And also what you're doing by choosing you and choosing to leave the relationship despite, everything that's going on with your children and them hating your twin flame or hating the situation, is that you're showing them a better life. Even though they might not see it right now, you're showing them that living in a toxic environment, living in an unhealthy environment, living with somebody who is just going to take and not give, living with somebody that's not in a healthy, joyful connection is not something that you want for your children. If you choose to stay, what are you showing your kids? This is the life you're supposed to have. Be miserable, but stay for someone else. And no, please be aware too, we're not telling you whether to stay or go. Only you can make that choice. But I think part of what's happening here is spirit, our own soul, our own guidance often will give us challenges to, and I don't like the word test, so I'm going to say challenges or opportunities to allow us to choose and make the highest choice. And how I see it is the highest choice is always to choose what's right for us. Some people think that's selfish, but it's not, because when you choose what's highest for you, you then give that example to everybody else to choose what's highest for them. If we all of this whole society chose what was best for us, and not just us, the ego self, but the bigger soul self for the bigger purpose.
Society as a whole would just be a little bit happier.
Yeah, happier, healthier, more stable, more joyous. So, in my opinion...
And there would be less judgment based upon tradition and rules. Not that tradition can be a bad thing. Sometimes traditions are in place because a tradition discovers something that is actually healthy.
Yeah. And in my opinion, like you're talking about leaving for your TF, if I were you, I would make the choice to leave for you.
Yes. Okay. You win.
There's no win. It's okay. Do what's right for you. Whether you leave and end up in a relationship with your twin flame or you leave and end up alone for a while, it doesn't matter. It's about choosing to leave for your own reasons.
How about choosing to leave so that you can live in a situation that shows a lot more love, and therefore there's an example of what making a tough choice but a right choice can do for a person? How about setting that example not only for others but even just for your kids?
Yes. And honoring your own inner calling. Like, just to give an example, when Rob and I were starting to feel the pull back together for reunion, it was very hard for both of us because we were in other relationships. There was friends involved. There was family involved. And you were very afraid.
Oh, I was nearly a nervous wreck over the thought that I had a very close-knit group of friends that some of them may have to choose between my ex and myself if I was to make that move, which I ultimately did. And also, they would also have reasons to judge harshly against me because of the way that things were going to go down. Now, I didn't realize they were going to go down as harsh as they did because things went down extremely fast as opposed to taking months. They took days as opposed to months.
Yes.
So that had to give it every opportunity to look as bad as it could, and it did. But again, ultimately, people saw through some of what really happened, and ultimately, yeah, sure, they couldn't see past the bits that I did completely wrong, and I wouldn't expect them to, but they were also able to see eventually why some things happen the way that they did and make their own decisions. And for the most part, one of my favorite sayings is, things are only ever half as bad as they seem, I live by that when it comes to tough and bad decisions and rough decisions and scary decisions
Mhm.
especially. And yeah, I've learned to trust that. Now sometimes things are as bad as they seem, but seldom are things worse than they seem.
Yeah. And what I've often found, not just on the twin flame journey, but just the journey of light, you will be challenged to make a decision. And often it's like a leap of faith. And it's like, well, if I go this way, I don't like it, but at least it's easy, it's familiar, it's safe. Whereas if I go the other way, well, I don't know what it's going to do. And oh, it might do this, or it might cause this trauma, it might cause this blow up. But we're often, again, I don't like the word tested, but that's the one that comes to my mind. Um, Over and over to make the choices that are right for us. You know inside you what you want to do. And it's a matter of making that leap of faith and letting the chips fall where they may. And one of the things I've experienced over many years of having to make these tough decisions is things fall into place better than you would think they would. Your children might come around, who knows, sooner than later. It might take them a couple years. It's hard to say, but things might fall into place much better than you expect just by you doing what's right for you.
I'd like to invite other people to comment on that because there's been a few people out there that are going to watch this video that have been through this,
Mm.
and there's nothing like the experience of others. We had our own version of it, so
Yep.
yeah, feel free to comment, please do.
And miracles really honestly do happen. When we were, if you haven't watched our Journey to Union videos, when we were getting together, it was really looking ugly. I was expecting I wasn't even going to have a home to live in, and everything turned around. True miracles happened. So you never know on your own journey how things will fall into place when you just honor the call to your own self and listen to what you need to do, not worrying about what others need or are going to do or how they're going to feel or how they're going to be affected.
Also, sometimes uh, we get stuck in our own, there's this word coming back. We get stuck in our own karma because we keep on making decisions that are against love or against looking after ourselves properly. And as soon as you start to make decisions that are maybe better for yourself, it's amazing sometimes how fast that old karma will reverse itself and find a better way to exist than what it has.
Yeah. I just want to answer the last kind of question here. She said, how do children and should children prevent union? I don't think anything should or can prevent union when you or the other person is ready. You will jump through every hoop you have to jump through, and even if it means you lose home, your children, friends, whatever, when you're ready for union and union is ready for you, you'll do whatever you have to do.
Now, the kids are also living in fear. That's why they don't want change. But fear is very, very three-dimensional. When you're making decisions from a fourth or fifth dimensional point of view, and it reflects back in love, uh, that's going to be a far stronger reflection for them. It'll give them something different to look at other than just their own fear.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you that back.
You gonna give me that back?
Yeah. Next question.
Your kids refuse to have any contact with your twin. That's the very last sentence. Oh, I suspect that would come around because for a while they might be a little bit quiet. They might be a lot quiet towards you, but after a while, you're still mom. You're still mom. Especially when the other choice isn't apparently that stable. You're still mom.
Okay.
Next question.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's a two-part question.
Yes.
Angie sometimes writes these up as a two-part question.
Well, she asked 2 questions.
Once you meet your twin, is it destiny that you'll be together? My twin is now more aware of our connection. I don't think he knows about twin flame signs, but he's trying his hardest to stay in his karmic relationship and avoid me. I'm just trying to stay centered and send loving positive thoughts and prayers to them for everything to work according to divine will. I'm not even going to go to the second part of the question.
Yeah, I was just going to say the second question's very different. Let's answer this one first.
Let's stop there.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that very first sentence. Once you meet your twin, is it destiny that you'll be together? Destiny? No. It's not destiny. It may be destiny to have contact. It may be destiny to learn things from them, or they would learn from you. It may be destiny to stay in contact, but will it be destiny to be together in union? That takes a deeper amount of effort and work for most people than just destiny. Your turn.
Okay, that's an interesting answer. I also say no. The old me from a couple years ago would have said yes, but now my beliefs have changed on this journey just because it's a new journey for all of us, right? So we're just all learning as we go. And what I'm learning to see and say is that it totally depends on what your own soul has chosen. Not every twin flame couple has chosen to be together this lifetime. So nobody else can tell you or guarantee union, because it just really depends on what your soul has chosen. And it also depends on what your definition of union is. I know quite a few twins now whose other, I don't want to say half, but other twin has crossed over. They're on the other side. They're dead, if you want to use that term. Does that mean they can't have union? A lot of them are in union, but just a different experience of what we think union is. So it just really totally depends on what your soul has chosen. Some people have chosen for their twin to just be in their life to awaken them, and then they each move on separately. However, though, I do believe most twins have come with the intention and the purpose to be in union physically, because, and I've said this many times before, we're not just here for the joy of union. We're here to bring that united love, that spark of energy, that divine connection to share and help with the ascension process. So that's the bigger picture of it. But will each twin do that? Maybe each twin has decided they're not ready. Who knows?
Yeah, just to word what you've said a little bit differently, and you said 4 or 5 points there, and I'm already starting to lose track which ones I'm trying to link together. But, there's 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional, and beyond union. And just knowing that you have a twin flame already allows 5th-dimensional union to exist all on its own without any form of permission. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum, and I don't like to use the word lower because it is a very important portion of the spectrum, the 3-dimensional union, the being together in physical. That one, yeah, I love the word rules. That one's got rules of its own. That includes living together. It's not about being in the same space and hoping that the 5th-dimensional portion of the union is going to just look after all the things that exist in 3-dimension, like money and leaving the toilet seat lid up and down and all those other things that cause issues in the 3rd dimension. So union,
Sorry.
okay.
That's not even an issue for us anymore, but it's just funny you use that example.
But union is...
Carry on.
Union is oftentimes a big goal in the 3rd dimension, because the rest of what we're supposed to be doing as far as our connections are concerned, for example, the spreading the universal love as an example, that is a little bit easier to do while you're in union on all levels. Because then you get to share it and show it on all levels. It feels a lot more purposeful on all levels if it exists for you on all levels. Sometimes that isn't a choice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is.
Now, can we just read the other part of the question again? Okay, so I'm just trying to stay centered and send positive thoughts and prayers
To them. In other words,
to work out according to divine will. In my opinion, that's
perfect.
There's nothing more you can do. You can't control another person, even if it is your own soul in another body. You still can't control that aspect of it. That's part of surrender. So that is a perfect place to be, because things flow better when you're in surrender. If you're in this place of hanging on and hanging on and hanging on, then you're telling the universe, I don't have this. So the universe goes, you're right, you don't have this. So here's more not having of it. When you can go, okay, it's divine time, it'll happen when it's happening or when it's supposed to happen, perfect. Then you give it over to the universe to let it flow divinely.
Most people haven't got that bit figured out of just allowing things to happen the way that they do. Sure, a little bit of steerage here and there doesn't hurt, but to just allow things to happen. If you've got this much figured out where you're just sending positive thoughts and prayers to allow things to happen in divine will and divine time, I would kind of suspect that you're on a good enough path that you can really trust where you're at and where your relationship and where your connections are at. Just stay on that course.
Yeah.
Shall we go to part 2?
Yes.
Part 2.
Now, part 2 is I'm gonna get a little intense, so be prepared.
I haven't read part 2 at all, other than the first 4 or 5
Actually,
words.
it might be. Oh no, these two kind of go together, but we'll read them separately.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard another person on YouTube talk about twin flames and how, in order to attract your twin flame into your life, you have to use the law of attraction. One guy says the awakened twin can attract the other by ignoring or blocking the other. He says you actually attract them back that way because you are negative polarities, and they'll be drawn back to you once you let go and don't think about them, especially if you don't obsess about them. He recommended going to great lengths even to defend them on Facebook.
Defriend them.
Oh, defriend them on Facebook.
It's okay, I just wanted to correct that because it's an important.
This sounds so extreme. Would you agree or recommend this?
Come here. You can't go outside right now. We're busy.
It seems to me that we strive to communicate better. Again, on all of our dimensions, three-dimensional with our three-dimensional existences, and we're always striving to communicate better, more solidly, more directly, more purposefully, in fourth and especially fifth dimension, or beyond if that's where you're at. So to go ahead and try to communicate far less, far more harshly by, let's say, cutting a person off, in some cases that may work. Can't see where that's a good long-term strategy. Just can't see it.
So I'm going to go back to the beginning because there was a couple good statements in this question. And I first want to just make it clear, if I get like a little bit intense while answering this, it is not directed at anybody specific, the person asking this. I think it's an awesome question, and I think there's some good clarity that could come out of it.
If I start to move this way, that's because the warmth coming from this way is more intense than the warmth coming from that way back there.
Also, we did answer this question in our live Q&A that we did a couple weeks ago, but I thought it deserved more. The only thing I don't like about doing live videos is it doesn't give me a chance to kind of process. I'm a thinker. I need to like really think things through. I have had this question for a little while, and while Rob was having his nap a little while ago, I was just sitting doing a puzzle, and I was mulling over this question, and more answers could come to me that way because I let it sink deeper into me. So when it's live, it's just you answer it on the fly and then you're done.
We are so opposite that way. And that's probably very helpful for us because I just get instant answers with instant questions. As soon as I start to think about it, I muddle up all my levels and I fall back into third dimension because I'm thinking too much.
Which is why you don't like to read the questions ahead of time.
That's why I don't like to read the questions ahead of time.
And I like to read them ahead of time because I'll often meditate on them. When I meditate in the morning and at night, I'll meditate and go, oh yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that. So I get deeper answers.
The more Angie starts to resonate with something, she takes it higher. The more I muddle with something, I tend to bring it down to a lower dimension. So Angie needs time to reach higher. I start out the gate higher and then I work my way back down. All that's happened to me over the years is instead of starting at 3.1 dimension and working my way back down to 3.0, I started at 4 point something and worked my way back down. I've worked my starting point has started higher.
Cool. That was a good explanation.
We're off on a tangent.
We are, and I'm trying to pull us back on.
Pull away.
Okay, so law of attraction. Nothing wrong with using the law of attraction to draw your twin flame, as long as you understand how the law of attraction works. There's a couple points that I want to bring out about the law of attraction. Law of attraction says that you have to think about what it is that you want and not think about what you don't want, because you get what you think about. You get what is in, if you're using Abraham Hicks's explanation, you get what is in your I lost the word, vortex, your energy field. So if you're thinking, my twin flame is going to come to me, my twin flame is going to come to me, they probably will, but you also have to understand that it's anything to do with the law of attraction works in divine timing. You have to also know and understand, like the previous question about letting go, surrendering, just allowing things to flow in their right time. You can't force the law of attraction. You can't manifest instantly. You can manifest instantly, but what I'm saying is you can't force it. It's not an ego thing. It's a soul thing. So that's a couple pieces about the law of attraction.
Can I make a quick comment about the law of attraction?
Yes.
My twin is coming. My twin will come to me. My twin will come to me. Versus my twin is already on a journey to me. My twin is already on a journey to me. One is saying that the twin will start. The other one is saying that the twin is already in motion.
Sure.
So if by using your vortex to allow to allow something to already be happening, as opposed to giving it permission to start sometime in the future.
Even better is when you say it's already here. If you believe that it's already here, then you're telling the universe, I already have this. So then the universe goes, you're right, you have it, and then you get it. When you tell the universe, I don't have this, the universe honors you and says you're right.
You're right, you don't have it.
So we'll give you more not having it.
Yes.
So to go to the next thing, one guy says the awakened twin can attract the other by ignoring or blocking. So let's just use the law of attraction with that. If you want to bring something into your energy field, we were just saying you need to already have it in your vortex. So if you're blocking or ignoring your twin flame, is that putting them in your vortex? To me, that is not. To me, that's pushing them back out of it. So how is that going to bring them closer to you? It's not, in my opinion. But it also depends what kind of energy you're using. You see, the law of attraction is energy. The whole thing about the law of attraction is energy. So it's not about what you think, it's about what you feel. It's about what you know. So let's just go back again, because I wanted to say more about ignoring and blocking. Now let's leave law of attraction for a minute and ask ourselves, what is a twin flame? If we go with the definition of a twin flame is the same soul in two bodies. Make sense? Make sense?
Yeah.
Same soul, two bodies. Does it make sense for you to ignore or block your own soul? They're your own soul. Why would you want to ignore them? Why would you want to block them? What is that doing to you, your own connection? All you're doing is blocking yourself. All you're doing is ignoring yourself. How is that going to bring you closer to you? It's not.
You see, as twins, we're already connected.
Yes.
You're already totally connected. It's just allowing the communication on all levels to actually function.
Yeah.
So It's not about attracting. You already have your twin in all aspects. It's just learning how to use the communication keys is a little bit tougher.
And what you said was perfect. They're already with you. What it is all you need to do is clear out the blocks that are keeping them or keeping you from feeling them with you and allowing you to experience them with you on a deeper level. So it's not about pushing them away, it's about clearing the blocks out from within you that are causing them to stay away. So if your twin communicates and you decide that the best way to get them to communicate more is to block them, I don't understand the logic in that. And this is where I'm like, I want to get a little aggressive because I'm like, that completely makes no sense to me. Because not only are you blocking them as another person, if you want to see them as a whole other entity, but you're blocking you because you're connected to them.
That sounds like how you would handle someone who was completely codependent to you. If you give them energy, they'll keep on sucking it. But if you push them away, then they hurt and they may come back to you more kindly. This is completely a 3.0 dimensional approach.
Yes.
And if you're trying to solve a 3.0 dimensional situation, well, then maybe it'll have some level of effect. But as soon as you start to reach a little bit higher, I don't see any form of effectiveness.
And I think this gets asked in the next question by a different person, a very similar. So we're going to answer it in more depth before that. But again, they're saying, let's make sure I cover everything. They will be drawn back to you once you let go and don't think about them, especially if you don't obsess about them.
Well, there's a difference between blocking and letting go.
And thinking versus obsessing. So again, law of attraction. If you're obsessing, what you're telling the universe is, I don't have this. Like we were saying before, and then the universe validates, you're right, you don't have this. If you're thinking of them, but you're thinking of them in a way where you're thinking that you do have them, that you are connected. For example, in our own journey, I used the law of attraction because I was guided to. When Rob and I were starting to come back into reunion, I would get flashes of him living with me. So I started practicing. I would take that energy, and as I was brushing my teeth, I would see him standing next to me. So what I was doing was I wasn't obsessing. I wasn't going, oh my God, I need him next to me. I was seeing that as a way to validate he is already here. And that then brought him there because I was telling the universe he is here. And the universe said, you're right, he is here. So then poof, he manifested physically there because I put out that energy.
Poof is a very long process, by the way.
Well, it was. It wasn't just like that.
It wasn't just like that.
No.
See previous questions.
Yes. But was I thinking obsessively, oh my God, I need Rob here, I need Rob here, as I'm brushing my teeth, I gotta have Rob beside me. No, because that's repelling energy. That is not drawing in energy. And I hope I'm saying this in a way that makes sense. It's clear in my head. I hope it's clear as it's coming out. So the next thing is he recommended going to great lengths even to defriend them on Facebook. This sounds extreme.
I agree.
I agree. Again, why would you unfriend yourself if you're understanding at a deep level that the twin flame is you? They are you in another body. To unfriend them is to unfriend you. To disconnect from them is to disconnect from you. How do you expect to have connection and union with somebody that you're disconnecting from? It just doesn't even logically make sense to me anyway.
Well, I've just had a little flash of thought, but it came right back to one of my original points. If you break three-dimensional connection, then you only have fourth and fifth dimensional connection left. And if you're trying to enhance the fourth and fifth dimensional connection, then maybe getting some of the third dimensional stuff out of the way might be useful. But only for the fourth and fifth dimension. When you go ahead and do all this damage on the three-dimensional level, then the third dimensional stuff may never be repairable, which in the end does not get you full circle back to where you want to be. which is in union. So I don't know. Yeah, it's still cutting off the nose to save your face.
Yeah. Like to me, this sounds more like ego, which is so against what we're all here to do. We're here to have a soul connection. We're here to break all those old templates that say in order to get a man, you need to push him away. You need to play this game. This isn't a game. This is a soul connection. We're not here to play games with each other. We're here to let go of those games and feel into our soul and go, what do I need to do? How do I need to communicate? So I'm going to say more, but we'll do the next question because it's perfect. It's a separate person that asked this question, but it's almost the exact question. Same question.
Okay. There are several TF teachers out there instructing that as soon as the feminine comes into balance or aligns with her soul, then the masculine automatically returns or is magnetized in to a physical relationship.
Okay.
This process entails clearing out any push-pull or fear-based energy, clinging and obsession, by the feminine. You have to cut out all thoughts and emotions for your twin and eliminate the addictive energy flowing, pushing towards them, which pushes them away. The claim that the masculine is usually unaware of the process, but the energetic soul connection simply works this way. Any thoughts as to what, if any, part of this teaching is valid? Thanks. That was actually very well described.
Yes.
That was really well described.
And I was kind of wrong. I said they were the similar question. They're actually not. This one explains it a little bit more. It almost explains what the other one was. Maybe the intention of what other teachers were saying is why you need to do this. So let's again go back. Okay, there
are several TF teachers out there instructing that as soon as the feminine comes into balance or aligns with her soul, then the masculine automatically returns or is magnetized in to a physical relationship.
I would agree with that.
Okay, let's take this too far. Okay, from a masculine point of view, as soon as you're not a nut bar, as soon as you're making sense on a 3 and a 4 and a 5th dimensional. Boy, am I ever hung up on that today.
Yeah,
As soon as you're making sense on all levels of some sort and are not being unhealthily advised from one level to another, yeah, you're going to be quite attractive because you're going to seem quite balanced.
Well, and there's the 3D and the 5D of it, right? The 3D, your twin starts to come back because they feel that, or they see that things have changed. So like, oh, okay, yeah, you are more balanced. But yes, on the energetic level, where they're saying the masculine automatically returns or is magnetized, because again, you're the same soul. So the other part of the soul recognizes, hey, something's changed with the energy. So they are drawn back because it feels more balanced. That's exactly what happened to us. Once I was more balanced in my own stuff because of all the work and the healing that I had to do, we were naturally started drawing back together. It just, oh, that's funny. One of our things just fell.
I thought I saw a streak of something.
Like, what just happened? You naturally do. So yes, it's all about, and this is why everybody talks about the inner work, because that's where it starts. Once you are fully balanced, then the magnet starts pulling the other person back. Now, so they say the process entails clearing out any push-pull or fear-based energy, clinging and obsession by the feminine. Totally agree. As we talked about in the last question. You have to cut out all thoughts, emotions from your twin and eliminate the addictive energy flow pushing towards them. So this is where I go, okay, wait a second. I agree with some of that. You have to cut out all thoughts and emotions from your twin. I disagree that you have to cut out all thoughts and emotions. You have to cut out the ones that you're saying afterwards, the addictive ones, the obsessive ones, the needy ones. You can't not think of your twin. I mean, it's like saying don't think of the elephant that's in the room, right? You're connected to them. How do you not think about them?
That was well stated. How can you not think of the elephant that's in the room?
How can you not think of somebody you have a deep soul connection with? And so many people chastise themselves. Oh, I thought of him again. Oh, well, there I go. I thought of her again. Well,
That's
don't beat yourself up.
of
It's
course you're going
watch
to.
your thoughts. What are you thinking of? Are you thinking, oh my God, I can't live without them. I need them. They're my whole life, and I'm gonna fall apart if I don't have them. That's the kind of thoughts you want to watch and start to shift. Because those are the thoughts that are saying to the universe, I don't have them, I don't have them, I have to have them, I need them, I need them, I need them. And then the universe goes, nope, sorry. So it's the energy behind the thoughts. What kind of energy is in those thoughts?
This whole question has got a completely different. It's not quite a tangent going on in my head right now, but I'd like to back up to the first sentence and then try to link it into the second sentence. But I probably won't get that far before I get to my point. Saying that the masculine is automatically returns or is magnetized into a physical relationship. When you talk about coming into balance and aligns with her soul, you're talking about finding peace and harmony on a different dimension than the physical relationship. If you gain your fifth dimensional balance between yourself and your twin, and then it reaches down into the fourth dimension and you find that there's balance there, then it would seem to naturally open up the opportunity for a relationship in the third dimension. So when you talk about coming into balance and being magnetized into a physical relationship, it's not that the balance creates the physical relationship. The balance through other dimensions through the harmony in the other dimensions creates the opportunity for the physical relationship. Something that happens in 5D really, honestly, stays in 5D. That is its home. But the harmony from that can spread out in all directions. So to cut out addictive energy would definitely clear the third dimension. But to cut out thoughts and emotions for your twin, that's a connection that typically reaches to a higher level. So I don't think you have to cut out your thoughts and emotions for your twin. I agree with Angie completely there. And eliminating addictive energy, I agree with Angie again. That's the energy that's in the way of the third dimension. So yes, it's again noting what energies are in what dimensions.
Yes.
And noting where your trigger points are, knowing where your stuck points are, and addressing each point at the correct dimension.
Yes. Now, I had some other comments, and they kind of more tied with the last question, but I'm going to address them here because they sort of tie with this one too.
Go ahead. I kind of blew out all the thoughts in my mind with the past 2 minutes.
That's okay. So both of these questions are talking about, and we didn't read this question here that we're on talks about giving some examples of teachers, and they've mentioned the teacher's name. We're not going to do that, of course. But what I want to address is just be very aware. There's nothing wrong with watching a ton of different twin flame videos. In fact, I personally advise it because then you get all sorts of different perspectives. I mean, our perspective is our perspective. It's from our journey. Our journey is not the only journey out there, right? There's many different ways and experiences of union.
Sometimes we say things that resonate with people. Sometimes, in order to find a resonation, they have to look elsewhere or they stumble across it elsewhere.
Totally.
There's many different perspectives, and any one singular perspective it's going to be very tough to find all your different answers and all your different aha moments from one perspective.
Yes. So with that, though, what I would really caution is be aware of teachers that talk about the journey in such a way that it's like a cookie cutter journey, that this is always what you do. When your twin flame communicates with you, you block them, you unfriend them from Facebook, and you cut all ties because you're not supposed to think about them. If there's cut and dried, this is how everybody should do it, in my opinion, That is not the kind of information you want to follow. Why? Because this is a very individualized journey. What is good for one is not good for everybody. What is good for one in one situation is not good for one in another situation. Just because in one moment it might be the right thing to do to not respond to your twin,
Sure.
does it mean it's the right thing to do every time? This is why we always say your answers are in here. Sure, it's fine to, listen to the people and learn and everything, but it always comes back to, what does it feel like? What do I need to do in this situation? Nobody can tell you in every situation in your own journey what's the right thing for you to do, because it's a different journey for you than it would be for anybody else.
And sometimes the information that was completely inaccurate a minute ago, because of a change in situation, all of a sudden is relevant now.
Yes.
So yeah, I've heard some twin flame teachers say that your twin flame is meant to completely enlighten you. Yes, I agree. I've heard some twin flame teachers say that your twin flame is only meant to be in your life to trigger you. Well, guess what? Your twin flames often do trigger you big time, especially through mirroring. So the answer to that is yes, but it's the extremes that I caution against.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes by triggering you, your twin flame is enlightening you. So yes, both at the same time. It's what resonates as the journey develops.
Yes. And that it might be different as the journey develops because your experience is different. The situation is different. I've had times in our journey when Rob would text me and I wouldn't respond for a week because that's what my inner guidance said to do. I've had other times he would text me and I responded instantly because that's what my inner guidance said to do. So it's not like there's one rule all the time for everybody. You have to go with what feels right for you in every situation.
Now, what was I learning from that? I was learning that if it takes a day or if it takes a week or if it takes a minute, just be happy that you eventually get an answer.
Yeah.
Because when that was all happening, I wasn't really all that aware of the concept of divine timing. And sometimes the divine says, no, that comment needs to be dwelled on for a month before it's answered to.
Right.
So what I eventually learned was patience.
Yeah.
That's what I called divine timing.
Yeah. And one other comment I wrote down, and again, we will never ever mention other twin flame teachers or insult them or criticize. That is not, we all have a purpose. Even, there's ones floating around on Facebook saying, oh my God, these are horrible. They're not even twin flames, blah, blah, blah. Everybody has their purpose, their reason. We're all here on divine mission, whether it looks like it in 3D or not. My advice, though, is follow teachers that always guide you back to yourself, because this is not a journey that somebody else can tell you how to do it. When they guide you back to you, that's how you know that you're following, in my opinion. Again, this is all my opinion, right? The same with us. If you don't like what we say, well, then it doesn't resonate. Don't listen to it. You always have to feel within and go, does this feel right for me? Does this resonate for me? Discernment is so, so big on this journey. Why? Because it's an internal journey. It's not an external journey. Your connection with someone else is not out there. It's in here.
And it's really tough when you're at the beginning of your journey. You don't have a lot of experience with trusting yourself.
Totally. So you're out there searching
you're
for everything.
and searching and searching and searching. But when you really pay attention to your successes, however small they are. Of course, the big ones, of course, totally pay attention to, but even the small ones. And eventually you'll start to develop trends that are working for you.
Yes. So yeah, I'm sorry. I warned you I was going to be kind of lectury on this one. I warned you it was going to be kind of like, and I'm not saying any of this to offend anybody, or, I'm not at all criticizing the people that ask these questions. These are awesome questions. Very, very good questions.
These questions come from the heart of where people are.
Yes.
And it's not even, I don't find it painful to know that people are stuck where these questions are, or they're mulling about where these questions are. Because from a point of view of wanting to help, Sometimes you have to go to where the pupils are. It's not about bringing the pupils to where you are.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are such good questions. They really are.
So I hope those answers help. I hope they offer clarity. If not, oh, good. We didn't lose you. We thought we lost you.
Oh, it's our 1 hour
Oh,
blackout.
yeah, it's our 1 hour. That means let's answer our last question and then we're done. Because we don't like to keep these more than an hour. And we only have one more question.
Only have one more question on this piece of paper. Of course, many, many pieces of paper. Okay. My twin knows of our twin flame connection and is accepting of it. But what should I say? But is a very literal person and is having difficulty with the spiritual aspect of this connection. I know Rob was not always as spiritual as Angie. Okay. So what advice can you give on this situation? Is there anything I can do to help my twin with the spiritual aspect? Rob, can you speak some of how you came to a more of a spiritual acceptance? Thank you as always.
Okay, before you do that, tell us all what your okay was. what went on there?
Rob was not always as spiritual as Angie. There's some aspects of spirituality that are very much Angie's, and some of them are very much mine. And the ones that are very much Angie, I will forever be trying to catch up to those, because that is just Angie's bits. I've come to very much accept where I am in my portion of our journey. So, yeah, I know Rob was not always as spiritual as Angie. I always still think of and I'm still not in Angie's way.
And you never will be. We're spiritual in different ways. And that's part of the journey.
That's part of the journey, and
yes.
part of the balance that I've come to really enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, at workshops sometimes people will have a question or a concern, or they'll be at a spot where I'm able to understand where they're at, but I wave Angie over. Come here. This person needs something that's got your specialty. Yeah.
And I'll do the same. I'll be like, no, you got to talk to Rob, because I'm too 5T for that. Okay, so this one's all you.
Okay.
You're up. I get to take a rest.
This is along the lines of what we ask people to send us more questions on.
Oh, okay.
It very much is.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do to help my twin with the spiritual aspect? I would say it is very important to help your twin with the spiritual aspect of where they are at.
That's exactly what I was going to say, even though I wasn't going to answer the question.
Yeah, because one of my favorite catchwords for the past 6 months has been the word overload. And just when a person is struggling with where they're at, if you throw a bunch of newness at them, it's just going to potentially push them over their brink of overload, where they have to push it all the way because it's just too confusing and too stressful for them. So very much, if you're going to help them with where they are. And by creating clarity with where they're at, then that'll give them more room to grow in different directions. Yeah. And, if you want to take that chance and try to use some of that newfound room for growth to steer them your direction, okay, all the power to you. I would suspect that there's some of that would be quite healthy to try to do. But if you find an ounce of room to growth, don't throw a pound of information at it.
And from my own experience with our stuff, what I did is let Rob, or actually, it wasn't I did this just because I did this. I did this because my inner guidance was very loud at telling me, only tell him something when he asks. And I can remember he'd ask, and I'd be like, oh my God, I've been wanting to tell you this so long, but finally you've asked. And then he'd be like, well, why didn't you tell me sooner? I'd be like, because I was told I wasn't allowed to tell you anything until you asked for it.
And that was pretty wise, because many times, just as I said, you have an ounce of room to growth and you get a pound of information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably wasn't ready for it until I asked for it.
Yes. So if you can, meet him where he's at, and also don't try to make him into you. Remember, yes, you're the same soul, but you have different pieces, right? You're meant maybe to be the more spiritual one, and he's meant to be the more human one. And that's okay. It doesn't make him wrong or bad or lesser. Allow him to be who he is.
You're twin flames because your soul chose to exist in two different bodies. Let's just try to not overcomplicate that. And you're existing in two different bodies so that you can learn different things that you can't just learn in one body. So if your twin is meant to learn something different than you, that also means that they're going to have different skill sets to do that learning than you have, or else you would have just done it all in one body anyway.
That's a great way to say it. I like that.
So allow your twin to be different. Allow them to be at a different dimension. And yeah, don't try too hard to make them you, because they're different than you for a reason.
Yeah. And not only don't try to make them you, don't try to make them understand things from your perspective. He might never. And that's totally okay. I mean, like Rob and I were saying, you know, when somebody has a 5D question, they come to me because I'm the 5D person. When somebody has a 3D question, we send them to Rob. And because you have different pieces, different parts, different elements that make you unique yet together and that fit together. So just allow him to experience this journey in the way that fits for him. If he doesn't understand all the signs, that's okay. He doesn't need to.
Respect where your twin is at.
Yeah.
And let them be there. And hopefully they can do the same with you.
Yes. And also, I was going to say, know that they, in their own time, will evolve into this stuff. I mean, I'm reading, watching videos, twin flame stuff all the time. Rob rarely does. Does it affect his ability to know, to learn? I mean, even, you know, to go back to the example of when I told him we were twin flames. I didn't tell him what twin flames were, and yet he just knew. He knew internally because the information was inside of him. So he didn't have to read and learn and do all of this exploration like I did, much like your twin might not either. He might just start to come to his own inner knowings and find his own truths without you having to give him any information or share anything with him or explain anything to him. Yeah, it's quite magical when you guys just gotta go poof. You're like, I've studied this my whole life. How do you just know this now?
And it's quite magical when you people go poof, and you're all of a sudden more grounded. It's amazing. Like, how did you find that? There was no hope of finding that 20 some odd years ago.
No, grounded. No.
Grounded was not part of your world,
Oh, dear
and now
Lord.
it is. It's wonderful to watch. So respect each other's differences completely.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. Like you're saying, if you've come to your own balance enough for the two of you together, know that he has too. You might not see his balance as the same in terms of him not being spiritual like you are, but that doesn't mean he's not in his own balances, right? That's the fun thing about this journey. We're the same but different. It's quite exciting.
Many different faces of spirituality.
Yep.
Yeah, and maybe your twin is at a place because of what they need to learn on this journey. Maybe they're just at a place that you don't even recognize. Maybe they are quite spiritual, just in a way that is very invisible to you.
Yeah. I just
Excellent.
want to make sure, did we answer all of that? Is there anything I can do to help my twin with the spiritual aspect? Okay, I think we addressed all that.
And more spiritual acceptance. We just talked about acceptance through the respect of just letting them be where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We're at the bottom of a piece of paper.
That means we're done with questions.
Oh.
Which is good. I'm getting really toasty warm between my nice warm water that I have in here and the hot fireplace there. I'm really warm.
And for any of you who want to know what that was that fell from behind us, this is, well, it's very close to Remembrance Day in 2019, and what we have above us is a whole row of poppies.
Yeah. In Canada, it's called Remembrance Day. In the U.S., I think it's Veterans Day.
Veterans Day,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know what it is in other countries.
In England, I believe it's Armistice Day. That's what they used to call it a long time ago in Canada before they changed it to Remembrance Day. I think it was also that way in the States too. Some historian's going to tune me in now because I know I've stepped on some toes. Anyway.
So happy remembering who you really are.
Okay. All right.
We love you guys, and don't forget to send us your questions for Rob. Don't hopefully overload him with a whole pile of them, but if you do, it's okay. We'll make a fun video out of it.
Eventually, I'll breathe deep with all these questions, and we'll sit down in front of the fireplace here, I think, unless I choose someplace else, and answer away.
That would be like the best place for you.
Sure.
Your grounded, mountainy self. We haven't done an outdoor mountainy video in a long time.
And of course, we're just going into winter, which is, it sounds like a great suggestion, but it's going to have to...
Rob's cringing going, why did you suggest that?
Now we're, okay. -20. Answer.
We've done a lot of outside videos.
Yes.
We can pick a warm
We could pick a warm
day when we're out snowshoeing.
Might have to wait for a warm day in February.
Oh boy. Okay, now it's time to go. When Rob's saying his favorite word in a weird way, you know it's time to go.
Okay.
All right, we totally love you guys. We will be back with more videos soon. Bye.
Bye.